Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kara, and on this channel we're going to be talking about finding health, whatever that might look like. In today's video in specific, we are going to be focusing on weight and the number on the scale. That is not going to be the focus of every video, but it is for today. Now, eventually I might get myself organized enough to create some sort of theme song for this channel, or at least an intro card, but that's not going to be today. So let's just dive straight into it very quickly. I just want to point out, on my lips I am wearing the shade Hug Me from MAC, and on my eyes is the new palette from Artist Couture. This is the Supreme Mauves, or Mauves for the Americans in the crowd. I just had it delivered today and I am sufficiently underwhelmed, if I'm being perfectly honest. I don't think it's awful, but definitely not a must-have. In honor of the occasion though, I did bust out my broccoli earrings. Please don't ask me where I got them because I have absolutely no idea. I don't know where I got them. Probably off of Zulily from some website that sells through them, but at any rate, broccoli, because finding health. Okay, as you can see from the title of today's video, we are talking about the dreaded weight regain. It is very common for people who have undergone the RNY gastric bypass or the sleeve procedure to regain some of the weight that they have lost. We're going to normalize it, we're going to talk about it, and if you haven't undergone weight loss surgery, I think there might still be some information in here that's going to help you in your journey towards finding health. So let's just get into it. If you're new to the channel, I underwent RNY gastric bypass on August 30th of 2019, so we are coming up on 3 years this summer, which is just mind-blowing to me. My pre-surgery weight was 316 pounds, which was not my all-time highest. That was 328 pounds prior to getting pregnant with my son, my second child. During my pregnancy with him, I did lose about 70 pounds. I had gestational diabetes, I was on bed rest, I was in constant pain. There was a lot of factors that went into that. It wasn't that I was necessarily trying to lose weight while pregnant, it's just a byproduct of all of those factors coming together. But after I gave birth to him, I managed to find the vast majority of those 70 pounds. And in that process, I knew that I needed an external tool to help me lose weight. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do it and sustain it on my own, and that is where gastric bypass came in. And within the first year of having that surgery, I lost 120 pounds, reaching about 195 pounds on the scale. So that brings us to today, 2 years after hitting that all-time low for myself. And I am now at 215 pounds, meaning I have regained 20. So in this video, I want to talk about how I'm reacting to that, what my plan is regarding those 20 pounds, and really just talking about the normalization of weight gain after weight loss surgery, or really after losing any significant amount of weight. So I think we're going to start there because knowing the numbers and knowing the stats really did help take the edge of panic away from me. Because as much as I'd love to sit here and say, doesn't bother me at all, it is what it is, we're going to be totally fine, I'm perfectly happy, I'm really not. I am very scared that 20 pounds can turn to 30, can turn to 40, can turn to 120, and I just end up right back where I was. And if I don't take active steps to nip it in the bud and possibly reverse it, that's exactly where it's going to end up. Weight regain on its own, left unchecked, is just going to continue. Those habits are going to reform. I'm going to lose sight of my goals, and it's going to become a bit of a slippery slope. And the further away from that lowest that I hit, the stronger that sense of panic and the stronger that sense of failure is. So I want to address those two feelings, panic and failure, because I don't need to panic and I have not failed. So I'm going to be looking down simply because I did do some research, I did take some notes, and I just want to make sure that I'm conveying the information correctly to you. So first of all, your pouch. So if you do have the RNY gastric bypass surgery, you end up with a little wee new pouch. The rest of your anatomy remains in your body, it's just that they've sort of bypassed it, carved it out, and you have this little tiny, basically egg-sized pouch immediately after surgery. If you undergo the sleeve, they actually bisect a whole portion of the stomach, remove that, stitch it up, and your stomach becomes almost more like a bit of a tube. So those are basically the two main. There is like the mini bypass and all that. I'm not going to get into it. Big picture, broad strokes is sufficient for today's video. So that pouch, and presumably the stomach after the sleeve, can stretch over time, and in fact it's very normal that it does. The stomach in and of itself is a very pliable material, if you will, organ, I guess. And so it's designed to stretch, to hold volumes and shrink back down. So this artificial tiny little pouch, while initially it is incredibly helpful at helping you restrict your food intake and therefore lose weight, it does relax over time. It may not necessarily get back to the pre-surgery size, but it does relax, and the volume of food that you're able to eat does increase over time. What I can eat today, almost 3 years out from surgery, versus what I could eat, 6 months out from surgery, look very different. There are still foods that today will very much upset my stomach, and so I just kind of avoid them entirely. But if we're just looking at volume of food, I certainly can eat more now than I could in the preceding years immediately after surgery. So keeping that in mind, this is where I need to look down because it's all very fact specific. So with the RNY procedure, the gastric bypass procedure, you're expected to lose about 75% of your excess weight. So not your total body weight, but just the excess amount, the pre-surgery weight minus whatever that BMI, as flawed as it is, whatever the BMI suggests is your healthy weight. For me specifically, I'm a 5'9" woman, so my average healthy weight is about 168 pounds. So if we take a look at the numbers then, I was 316 pounds to begin with. A healthy weight for me is about 168. That's sort of the higher end of the range. So 168 pounds, the difference between the two then is 148 pounds. So 75% of that is 111 pounds. So initially after surgery, I actually exceeded the expectation because I lost more than 111 pounds. So that's the initial weight loss. For sleeve patients, it's expected that it's going to be about 65% of your excess weight. And then it is expected, it's actually expected that weight loss patients are going to regain some of that weight. So what I would prefer to look at, rather than the initial amount that you're expected to lose, is the lifetime amount that you are sort of expected or hoped to maintain years out from surgery. So for RNY patients, that is about a 60% loss of the excess weight. And for sleeve patients, it's in the range of about 50 to 55%. So for myself, if I apply that 60% figure to my personal stats, we are looking at an overall loss of 89 pounds is what it is hoped or expected that I will maintain long term. I am still sitting at 101 pounds lost. So obviously I am doing better than the expected 89 pounds. That is not to say that I feel like I have a buffer and therefore I can still gain some more, but it is to say it's very normal. It's very natural, and I haven't done anything that is not expected. I have not failed. And so knowing those numbers and being able to really think about it logically from that sense has put my mind at ease so much. And so that's why I wanted to share this with you guys, because if you have been going through a bit of a weight regain as well, please know that it's normal and it doesn't mean that you're failing. I do want to re-lose those 20 pounds. I can feel it in the way my clothes fit. I can feel it in the loss of breath going upstairs, and it just overall is making me feel uncomfortable in and of myself. So I want to re-lose those 20 pounds. If I lose an additional 10 pounds beyond that, so much the better. But right now the goal is 20 pounds. However, a goal without a plan is just a wish. And from very repeated and long drawn out life experience, I can very confidently say that wishing is not an effective weight loss strategy. It just truly isn't. I spent decades wishing for a different body, and it never happened, amazingly enough. So I need a plan in place. And when I think lose weight, that's so broad. It's such a big, it really is just like a wish statement. I wish I could lose weight. I wish I could be smaller. I wish I could be lighter. I wish the number on the scale was different. That is not in and of itself a very helpful statement. And I think what's more important is looking at the behaviors and the actions and the habits. If you form good behaviors, if you turn those into healthy habits, the weight loss takes care of itself. So I need to focus on the behaviors. So for me personally, one of those is refocusing on my water intake. I know that I have been slipping. I haven't been drinking as much water as I normally do, particularly when I'm at the office. I've been relying more on coffee, not particularly helpful. So it's a very simple thing for me to do. Just fill my water bottle up before I go upstairs to my office, and then it's right there and I have no excuse. At home, I'm very good. I always have like a cup of water with me. I just constantly drink water at home. But at the office, there is definitely room for improvement. So that is one of the behaviors that I'm going to be working on. Another one, I need to get back into taking my vitamins. If you've had any sort of weight loss surgery, you know that you're supposed to take a whole vitamin regime, and I have not been compliant with that. I will own that. I got lazy, I got bored of doing it, but I need to get back into it. It is supplemental to my health. It can only help me. It might not necessarily feed into the weight loss side of things, but emotionally and mentally, it takes me back to those early days because I was very compliant with those supplements for, I would say, a good year and a half post-surgery, and then I just got bored of it and stopped doing it. Not a good enough excuse, but it's what I bring to the table. So I need to restart that and just make that part of my daily routine. It's calcium, it's vitamin B12, there's a multivitamin in there. Every now and then I do take iron pills as well. I don't like them because they just make my system so very angry, but sometimes it's very vital to my overall health, so you do what you gotta do. So I need to just do it. That's all there is to it. I just need to do it. So I have all the vitamins. I have the organizer for them. Put the vitamins in the organizer and take them. So that is another behavior that I'm going to be working on. Third, I need to get more active again. I have been wallowing in seasonal depression, and I cannot overstate how horrible it's been. I'm not going to get into it for the purposes of today's video, but it has been the worst it's ever been. It's been a terrible winter, absolutely terrible winter. And then there's other stuff going on in my daytime job, and there's just a whole mess of things happening. It's been very overwhelming. It's been a lot. I've been really struggling, and therefore I have just been sitting in the tub most nights or reading on the couch, watching TV, just basically engaging in escapism instead of living the active lifestyle that I wanted and wished for so long. So the weather is finally improving here in Canada. Today is an absolutely glorious day, and I did go for a walk, but I want to get back into running. I miss it. I hate running while I'm doing it, but I love the sense of accomplishment that it gives me. I love just how proud I feel of myself. I love how it transforms my body, and I love that I feel like I'm doing something beneficial for myself. So there are so many positives to it. For me personally, running is definitely not for everybody, but for me personally, I actually really do enjoy all that goes with it. Although during the actual run itself, it is very much a mental game. The body just kind of gets into a rhythm after a while, and it really is all about consistency. The more consistently you get out there, the faster your gains are in terms of stamina and endurance, all of that kind of thing. Those might be interchangeable. Regardless, we'll move on. But I just need to start, I just need to start, and it is very much a mental game. I got myself distracted, but as you're running, you're trying to say to yourself, why am I doing this? Let's just stop. This is hard. This is uncomfortable. And it's the brain telling yourself, no, you can do it. You can do another 100 meters. You can go a little bit further. So every day that you do it, you can go further, and it's really amazing to see how quickly you can progress through it. So I'm going to start again. I had lofty goals at the beginning of the year of training for a 10K, and then that just became this huge goal in my head. I'm going to cut it in half. I know I can do 5K because I have done 5K before. I just need to train and be consistent about it to get back to it. So that is another thing that I'm going to be focusing on. Now, another thing for me is the food. Obviously, the food goes hand in hand with the active lifestyle, and I've already made some really big changes in regards to that because we have not been eating out like at all. We went out once last week, and that was the first time, I would say, in about 3 weeks that we've actually been to a restaurant, and we have only ordered in maybe twice, maybe 3 times, maybe, in like the last month and a bit. So those are very dramatic differences for us because all winter, with my brain just on the fritz, relying very heavily on Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes and going out and just like, I just need comfort food. So as you saw from a recent video that I posted, I did like a whole grocery order haul, and then I did one of a meal prep thing, and we have been eating like kings with this meal prep. I still have to edit the second part of the meal prep, plus I also did one specifically for like more soft foods for early stage of recovery after surgery. Editing them is a little bit of a beast, but I need to sit down and actually do it. Avoiding challenges has been part of my coping mechanism in the last like 3 months as well. So I apologize for the lack of content, but oh my gosh, it was enough to just get out of bed most days, and I'm not exaggerating on that. So food, making my own. I've really been enjoying it. We have redone like our whole kitchen dining area thing. We got rid of our dining room table because we literally never eat at it. We all eat together in the living room. So why are we holding on to this table that's just taking up space? We got rid of it. We bought like a big sideboard so that I have more storage because we have a very small kitchen. So now we basically have an extension of our kitchen. I hung some shelves today so that all my new like spice holders and whatnot are available. I bought like a brand new knife that I'm loving. It's very sharp. I sliced the crap out of my finger, so can confirm very sharp. But basically like I'm just reclaiming that space, and I am loving it. I'm loving it. I might fall off of this cooking kick. We shall see, but I'm gonna ride it hard as long as I can. So doing the like freezer prep and all of that kind of thing has been incredible because we have a chock full deep freezer. Our freezer upstairs is full, and then in our actual fridge, I've gone and I've chopped up all sorts of celery and cucumber. They're in like a little container all on their own. It's just really easy to grab and snack. We've got the pickles cut up in one, there's fruit in another one, and everything is already like prepared and cut. So it's just so very easy to grab a nice healthy snack, sit down, and away you go. So that is another thing that I'm focusing on, is just doing as much of my cooking myself as possible. That way I know what's in it. I can add little tweaks here and there, a couple like scoops of protein powder or a bit of fiber added into like sauces, things like that. You can't taste the difference, but it's just upping that nutritional factor. So I've been enjoying that process, and that is something that I'm definitely going to be continuing with. So then the last step in all of this is tracking my progress, and that's going to take on a few different iterations. So one is going to be just how my clothes feel and my, athletic abilities, such as they are, the improvement with endurance, all that kind of thing. That's one way to track progress. Actually taking measurements and taking photographs, that is going to be another portion of it. And then there's the scale. And I have a very checkered history with the scale because it has the ability to control my mood, and I don't like to afford it that much control. So I plan to only weigh myself once a week, because the thing is for me, if I weigh myself daily, it spirals out of control. So I step on the scale very first thing in the morning. If it hasn't gone down, I get frustrated. If it's gone up, I feel defeated. If it's gone down, then I feel very happy, but it can sort of lull me into a false sense of confidence. And either way, the scale and the number on it is still dictating my mood. And then I also find if I start weighing myself daily, then I start weighing myself multiple times a day. So I'll weigh myself very first thing in the morning before I go to the bathroom, and then after I go to the bathroom, and then in the afternoon when I get home from work, and then immediately before bed. And it's completely unnecessary. It's completely unhealthy, at least emotionally for me, and I don't want to fall into that again. So once a week is sufficient. I may or may not establish an actual date and time to do that so that it's very regimented. I'm gonna have to play that one by ear because my fear is that it's then going to again hold this weird sense of control over me. I would rather just forget about it and skip a week and then catch up than live for weigh-in day, if that makes any sense. Just because I know I have this history with the scale, I like to keep a respectful distance from it because it really is just one factor amongst a variety, and it's just the function of your mass versus gravity. And for that to have so much control over me when it's unnecessary and avoidable, I prefer to avoid it. So that's where we're at with that. So then I have questions for you guys. First of all, who wants to join me on forming new healthy habits? I would love some company in that. I don't know how to structure that. This is the nice thing though about having a fledgling new baby channel, and especially having a baby channel where a lot of you have come from my previous channel. So like I feel like there's a connection there, and I feel like I know you guys and you know me, and like this is our channel, not just my channel. I want to structure it in the way that's going to work best, well, if I'm being perfectly honest, in the way that works best for me, but also in a way that's going to be beneficial for all of us as a collective. So what would you want to see for progress reports? Because I feel like that's going to be an important step here as well, is me being open and candid with you guys to show you that it is possible. If you regain after gastric bypass or after any sort of significant weight loss, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It doesn't have to defeat you. And I want to be sort of proof of that, which means I need to prove it to myself as well, and here we are. So what would you want to see? Do you want to see like weekly updates, monthly check-ins? What do you want to do with that? We don't have enough on this channel yet to open up live streams, but that is something that I very much am considering once we do hit that threshold, so that we could do little chats with each other and just sort of give each other encouragement, what's been working, what hasn't been working, and just sort of bounce ideas off each other. Just give me some ideas down below, please. I would really appreciate that. I'm not like the vlogging type. Like taking my camera to the grocery store, it fills me with intense like anxiety. I don't know that I'll ever get comfortable to that point. Also, I just don't picture myself running and like operating a drone to like take over like aerial footage of myself running. Maybe eventually, but right now, like I run around the block in my city and it's really not that exciting. Like it's not that exciting. It's sort of an industrial area that I run through. So all that to say, I plan on doing runs. I don't necessarily plan on taking you guys along with me on the runs. When I'm running, I want to focus on the running. I don't want to focus on what the camera angle is and like getting the foot, you know what I mean? I want it to be on the activity itself. So I'm rambling, you get the point. If you have any suggestions, requests, whatever, please let me know down below. But with all of that said, I'm going to wrap the video up here. I really just wanted to take this opportunity, A, to be open and honest with you at where I'm at, but also just to sort of normalize and have this conversation about weight regain, because it really doesn't need to be the end of the world. And it is very much a part of the process. And I'm living through it at this point. So I don't have any pearls of wisdom for you guys at this stage, but hopefully we can uncover them together. But with all that said, I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help the channel out. And if you're not subscribed, I ask that you consider doing so. And I will see you in my next video. And until then, just remember, yes, you can. Bye for now.